you go spend time with the Amish. This is a wholly different deal.
Bro, it was like...
Do they put you to work? Or are you freeloading on the couch?
Do you see my cute little soft hands, little East LA City hands?
Like Carlos the Sheep Farmer is a show I'd like to see.
No, listen. The fact that I walked onto this farm, and first of all, I'm scared to death. Like, at least the monks, like, I don't know. I'd worked at a church before. I mean, I don't know if I could maybe get 10% of what the monks were doing.
You had context for that.
The Amish, bro, like they're a very private community. And they invited me in, and I get driven up in a convertible Beetle, white Beetle, with my friend Leanne. We're blasting Taylor Swift, driving up the driveway, and I walk out, and she slams the door, and she backs up. She's like, "See you in 2 weeks." And then Willis comes walking up. He's got his overalls on. He's like, "Hello there, I'm Willis." And I was like, "Hey, I'm Carlos." He's like, "You may want to go change." And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "We're about to get to work." Bro, I just watched this man farm for 4 hours. And I was toast. Like I just remember going to bed that night so exhausted from watching him farm. I hadn't even started farming yet. I just been following him around as he was doing all the things. He has 100 acres. He's got sheep. He's got 8 horses that he uses to plow the fields. And so began my journey of becoming a Amish sheep farmer. And I absolutely fell in love with that community. I fell in love with everything that they were. They taught me so many lessons. But yeah, I was farming every single day. I was shearing the sheep. I mean, I injured more sheep than I sheared. Yeah. But there was a lot of blood involved, but I was trying my hardest to,
Wow.
But it was a lot. And the cool thing about the Amish, probably the most shocking thing is I went from almost living in a cave at the monastery, 23 hours a day of silence, to the Amish, bro, go hard.
They got no electric. Is that right? That's a real thing?
It's a real thing now.
So there's no 80-inch TV in the living room. Kids are on the PlayStation.
They had a large old F-150 diesel motor that they would run out in the shop that would power a couple of tools. But that was
I'll allow that.
Okay, will you allow that? Okay,
I'll
cool.
allow
They literally had to go, so like we're okay.
But I'm curious to know, and you started with the monks, but you had some religious context as a former pastor yourself, growing up in the church. I'm curious to know what the human connection was, because I love how early in the conversation you said, I thought this was an experiment about device. And what it turned into was an experiment of community.
Yeah.
So how shaking in a good way was it for you
to
completely get immersed in a different culture?
Oh my gosh, man.
What did you notice first?
Well, I think what I noticed first, I consider myself a pretty open guy.
Very much.
I mean,
you're one of the friendliest,
I don't care who you
people
are,
I know.
What you believe, like we're good. The way that these Amish, who are very close, invited me in was earth-shattering to me. They first of all, they call it visiting. So whenever they're going to go hang out with someone, they're like, Willis was like, "We're going to go visit with Farmer Fred today." And I was like, "Oh my God, that means we're going to spend 3 hours around the table talking to this guy." Like, and so we'd go visit, and he'd visit 4 or 5 times a day, right? And all of their meals lasted 90 minutes long. Like every single meal, breakfast, 90 minutes, lunch.
No wonder they get up at 4 a.m. to work.
Yeah, 100 minutes.
A lot of visiting going
Dinner,
on.
2 hours, And I just remember asking him, like, "Bro, why are we eating so long?" He's like, "Carlos, you've got Facebook. That's how you find out what's happening with your friends. Our table is how we find out what's happening with each other." And here's the deal. In like the 1940s, the average American dinner, was 90 minutes long. In 2023, the average American dinner was 12 minutes long. And what I saw with the Amish is the value and the importance of meals, because meals are where the community happens. And every single one of their rules has to do with how close they can make their community. The reason they don't drive cars isn't because they believe cars are evil. He told me, "Carlos, if we allowed ourselves to have cars, if Miss Betty's barn burned down, we could build that thing back up in 3 days flat. But if we had cars, we'd be too far away from each other to be able to build her barn back in 3 days flat." So we asked 2 questions with every piece of technology. The first question is this going to bring us closer together? Or the second question, is it going to tear us farther apart? That is how they invite more technology into their place. So now I ask myself that question all the time. When I install an app, is this going to bring me closer together to my community, or is this going to take me farther apart?
That's so good.
And so, there were all sorts of things that were happening there. But I mean, here's the kicker. I was the only dude that looked like me in Mount Hope, Ohio. So as I'm riding around on my e-bike with my little Amish hat and my little reflective vest, from here to there, it was the first time in a long time that I'd kind of felt like, whoa, like one of these things doesn't belong here. And so there was even a little bit of those conversations that were going on. They were very healing for me.